All right, I see a few others joining in, so we'll wait for a couple of more minutes and then we'll jump right into it. Before that, I'll just do a quick mic check if I can get a yes in the chat box from the audience. Can you hear me fine? Okay, perfect. I see a yes. Thank you for confirming, Laurel. Um, we'll start in about a minute. See a few more folks joining in. Okay, all right. I guess we have a couple of people and then people will keep joining. So without any further delay, let's jump right into it. So hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Ramiz with Normex, and I'm excited to be your host for today's webinar. Before we dive into the details, allow me to give you a quick overview of what we will cover today. We have an exciting agenda lined up featuring insights from industry experts. We'll have an interactive Q&A session and actionable takeaways that you can start implementing right away. And I'm also delighted to be joined by Anu from Food Safety Solutions. And Anu brings along a decade of cumulative experience in quality assurance and over a decade of experience implementing food safety systems in various domains of food industry. So that's about us. And I'm from Normex. We are a food safety management software. And we have been helping food processors, food manufacturers, retailers, wholesalers across the globe to help them streamline their food safety efforts. And similarly, we have Food Safety Solutions, which is our channel partner and a renowned name when it comes to food safety consulting. So that's a little about us. A few housekeeping items before we get started. First off, getting to know you. We would love to know you, who you are. Please use the Q&A option to introduce yourselves for us to understand better about you and your food safety program. We also have a poll, so we'll be conducting a quick poll. We encourage your participation. It will help us to understand the current landscape and tailor a discussion to address your concerns and interests. Also, we will have a practical example within our presentation depicting how supplier management happens for a manufacturing plant. And yeah, this session is being recorded. So we will make the recording available to all of you after the webinar so you can revisit it and you can also share it with your colleagues. So without further ado, let's get started. With that, I will let Anu take charge and run us through a quick presentation on a topic for the day. Over to you, Anu.
Great. Thank you, Ramiz. Appreciate the intro. So just a little about myself. My name is Anu Bernier. I am a food safety consultant working with Food Safety Solutions. We are based out of Calgary in Canada, and we provide consulting services as well as training and auditing. For myself, I've got over 13 years of industry experience in various commodities like bakeries, dairy, including ice creams and cheese and yogurt. And then we have beverages. Also have worked in the cannabis industry, as well as ready-to-eat meals, snacks. The list kind of goes on. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but a vast experience in the food manufacturing industry. So with that, I would like to know a little bit about my audience today. So if you all can just please type in your name, your industry, and country, it'll be great. You can use the chat section and just put in these three information, and that'll give me a better idea to understand my crowd and present more industry-specific examples throughout my presentation. So if you could use the chat icon and put in some information. I'll just give a couple of minutes there. And then I'll move on with the presentation. I see Danny's message come in. She says, Danny, Consulting Alberta, Simina, Food Safety Assessor out of Canada, living in Calgary. Thank you, Simina. Alyssa out of Alberta, Canada. Thank you, Alyssa. Matthew with CPG Products, Alberta. Thanks, Matthew. John, Food Safety Consulting in Kenya. Thank you for joining, John. And we have Andrew from Kenya again. Thank you, Andrew. And I'm just looking at our participants. We have a few more. Laurel, Green Seed Contract Packaging, USA. Okay. I think that's everyone. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing who you are. So to move on, I'm also going to get this poll out of the way. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it as an electronic poll, but my question to you is, what is your biggest challenge with suppliers? Is it A, keeping product specifications current, B, receiving current certificates of the facilities, C, receiving ongoing letter of guarantees based on your risk assessment frequency, whether it be annual, every 2 years or 3 years, or D, all the above. So if you can once again use the chat and put in A, B, or C, I would appreciate that. Okay, we already see a few Ds coming in. I'll also give a couple of minutes there, and then I will move on. Once again, it is not an automated poll, so kindly please use the chat icon to put in your answers. John says A. Okay. We have a few more Ds and a few more As. Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you everyone for putting in your answers in the chat box. Yes, to D is seems to be the most popular answer. For me personally, it's often the A. Like working in the industry, one of the biggest challenges I have is making sure that the product specifications are current from the suppliers. Often some of your GFSI standards requires you to review the specifications and keep it current within X number of years, either annual or every 3 years. For example, some supplier might give you a product specification dated 2021. Sorry, let's go 2020. And if it's not current within 3 years, then it often isn't a current specification, and it does lead to some non-conformances within your food safety standard. And I have personally chased around suppliers asking, hey, if there is no change, can you send me an email confirmation? And then there's a 10 emails on chain, and I have to save that onto my computer. And then during the audit, you have to try and pull that up to demonstrate to the auditor. So I'll allow Ramesh to kind of shine more light onto how Normex can help you with that and not go through a back and forth and not keep 10 emails on file. But to move on with the presentation, I do want to address a little bit about supplier approval program. And then at the end, Ramesh will give you a small demo on how Normex can help you. So supplier approval, as we all know, is one of the many prerequisite programs for a food safety plan. A supplier approval program must include details on how suppliers are approved. Now, why is it important to know about your supplier? Well, for starters, if you want to manufacture and sell a safe food product, you need to know where your ingredients are coming from. Now, this is for a manufacturing facility. In the case of packaging, you still want to make sure that your packaging material is coming from a known source, which is food contact. So within your facility, you have control over your building fabrication, training your employees on good manufacturing practices, food defense of the site, and maintenance of the equipment. However, when it comes to your ingredients, which is one of the starting point of your product, you heavily rely on your suppliers. In addition, you also want to have approved suppliers in place for emergency purchases. Like, I think we have consultants, so let's say packaging. So we had Laurel who said their contract packaging in USA. Sorry, Laurel, I think I misunderstood as packaging materials, but you contract package for other customers, correct? Like, what kind of products do you package? Just gonna give her a few minutes to reply there. Okay, if I don't hear back anything, I'm just gonna make up an example. Say if I am making chocolate peanut butter cups, and if my supplier of peanut butter has a crisis and I am not able to get peanut butter from my approved supplier, I do want to make sure that I have an alternate supplier of peanut butter in place. Okay, Laurel said they pack customers' finished goods. That's okay. Thank you, Laurel. So just to use an example of peanut butter, making sure that you have alternate suppliers, which are also a part of your approved supplier program. So let's assume we are manufacturing beer buns. Sorry, it is summer, so I did have to bring a product from the barbecue area. So let's say we're going to manufacture beer buns, and we need the following ingredients. So yeast, flour, beer, salt, and sugar. Please don't hold me up to this recipe. I just use some of the major ingredients. So for the purpose of this example, let us look at beer. Now, we want to make sure you're sourcing beer from a known supplier. So alongside commercial breweries, we also have microbreweries manufacturing beer these days. In fact, people are even brewing beer in their garages. Now, you don't want to source a beer supplier from a garage, correct? And why is that? Well, for starters, we can assume that they don't have a sound food safety plan. There could be potential physical hazards in beer, such as plastic, wood, or even glass, if it's going to be a glass bottle. There could be potential chemical hazards, such as the alcohol concentration of the final product, or also chemical contamination from cleaning supplies, and biological hazards from the grains themselves. So these are suppliers, potential suppliers that are manufacturing beer in a garage. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, we have certified suppliers to known food safety standards, such as BRCGS, SQF, FSSC, or any GMP certification. So when a supplier has such a certification, we assume that they have addressed all the potential hazards to their product and are able to supply us with safe ingredients. And with supplier management comes with its own set of documentation. We have all been there. So starting with supplier certificate, audit report, product specifications, letter of guarantee, allergen information on ingredients, food defense letter, bioterrorism letters, CFA, etc. The list is never ending. So this is where Normex comes in handy. They are going to tell you how their software can help you with upkeeping of all these documentations associated with supplier management. So I will turn it over to Ramiz to walk you through how Normex can help you with supplier management. Over to you, Ramiz.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anu. That was insightful. And yeah, so before we deep dive into the software demonstration and application of how Normex can address your supplier management distress, let's for a minute think, why is supplier management super critical for food businesses, right? And why supplier management and food safety go hand in hand. So an efficient supplier approval program forms the foundation and cornerstone of any food safety plan. However, ensuring that all suppliers meet compliance standards is not only cumbersome, but also consumes critical man hours, involves heavy paperwork. In fact, what comes to your mind when you think of supplier management? It's just boatloads of papers and folders and binders, right? And then, a lot of inefficiencies, because of course, when you have paper, it actually triggers delays. It leads to a lot of inefficiencies, I would say, right? Furthermore, a single unsafe supplier can compromise the entire food production process, leading to widespread health issues. And just to list one of the instances, if you remember the 2011 listeria outbreak in cantaloupes from a Colorado farm, it resulted in about 33 deaths and 147 illnesses. Just to give you, an example of how critical it can be, right? So yeah, so about a Normex, what I'll do is I'll quickly share my screen and give you a quick demonstration of how Normex comes handy when it comes to your supplier management. So let me just share my screen. All right, can you see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
I can, so I'm assuming
Okay,
the
all
group
right. Just give me a
can.
thumbs up or maybe a quick yes in the chat if you're able to see. Okay, perfect. I see Matthew said yes. I'm assuming that all of you. Okay, perfect. All right. So what you see on my screen is the actual platform that we have, which is called Normex. So yeah, so before we get into the nitty-gritties and nuances, imagine you are a food processor and you decide to cut costs by using a new, cheaper supplier without proper vetting. Initially everything seems fine, but a few months later customers start complaining due to contaminated ingredients or whatever. So this scenario can actually lead to a lot of complications, right? You can have relentless media coverage, you can have your sales plummeting, uh, costly recalls. Of course, that's one word which most of us are afraid of, right? Recalls. And of course, immense financial strain eventually. So, of course, your brand's reputation is always at stake, right? So, it's very crucial that you have proper vetting and ongoing monitoring of suppliers while you maintain your food safety program, right? But, a lot of best practices like comprehensive vetting, continuous monitoring, clear communication, that's super critical, right, between you and your supplier, and meticulous documentation, and of course simple record keeping can keep all these issues at bay, right? And that's exactly what Normix is capable of, which I'll show you in a while, right? So let me quickly introduce you to Normix, which is our food safety management software, and how it helps you manage your suppliers. So the first thing that you see on Normix when you open Normix, let's say in the morning, right, or your quality manager, or you as a business owner, you will see this dashboard where you will see what's exactly happening at your facility. Are you having any open non-conformities, any complaints? But we'll today focus only on suppliers. So there's a picture, a graph here which shows you what's the current status of your suppliers, right? How many of them are approved, how many of them are pending, so on and so forth. So this will give you a very quick bird eye view of what's exactly the status of your suppliers, what's happening with them, right? Now, creating suppliers on paper is cumbersome. You know, I've personally seen a lot of quality managers struggling with boatloads of paper, right, day in and day out. And there are like, two or three people taking care specifically about the whole supplier management module in an organization, depending upon, the company size. Creating a supplier and managing suppliers on Normix is absolutely a cakewalk, right? Because you just few clicks away to create your suppliers and have all your suppliers at one place, and this is exactly what I'll show you now. So we have this whole module that's called approved supplier on Normix, which pertains to everything that comes to your mind when you have supplier management, right? So it starts with having a supplier database. You have approval workflows, you have performance monitoring, you have risk assessment, compliance, where the product is coming from, where the supplier is situated, what's their email address, the certificates, right? So this is what Anu was speaking a little while ago about, having all the certificates at one place, right? And knowing when the certificates are expiring, knowing about their spec sheets, so on and so forth, right? So Normix is where you will have all the information at one place, which is accessible not just to you, but also to your team, right? And this is where you can send emails to your suppliers informing them about, we have this whole supplier questionnaire which goes out the moment you add a supplier into Normix, asking them questions about, do you have a food safety program in place? If you have that, why don't you attach certificates? So this email goes out to them, they fill up the questionnaire, it comes back to you for review. And then, if you see on my screen, we have certain criteria that we have set up for a supplier to be classified as approved or not approved, right? So let's say they have to, come back to you with their certificates, which determines certain percentage of that score, right? So we have given 20% to supplier assessment, 20% to specs availability, 20% to if they have any non-conformities, I'm sorry, in the past, so on and so forth, right? So all of this coupled together determines whether Normix can approve or not approve those suppliers, which means that you do not have to really go back to those folders and find all the information. And whenever there's an audit or maybe an inspection happening at your plant, uh, the horrors, right? The horrors of getting audited and then going back to those folders and file searching for the information, if you're asked to submit that information, right? So Normix ensures that all the information is handy, not just for you, to have a seamless audit, but also to manage suppliers absolutely effortlessly, right? So when you have this information, you're able to see, okay, I have this information, I have to review that. I can see when the certificates are expiring, so on and so forth, right? It becomes naturally easy for you to, have everything, right? And then it's just about few clicks, and then your supplier management is absolutely sorted, right? So this is essentially how Normix can help you. And I'll show you some more features here. Just allow me a minute. Yeah, so you have, all your, and then, yeah, you have this very important, if you see this yellow icon here, right? The message envelope icon, right? This is where you can just click and send emails directly to your suppliers to get back all the relevant information from them regarding their certificates, so on and so forth. And this system is smart enough to tell your suppliers, send automatic emails to your suppliers asking for all the information. Because let's say if you have 20 or 30 suppliers, right? Keeping track of whether their certificates are in good standing or they've expired is really hard, right? It's really a struggle to keep that information, keep a track of that, right? Normex keep tracks of that, and it ensures that it sends automatic emails to all your suppliers so that they can send you relevant information about their ingredients, so on and so forth, right? And in fact, Normex also takes care of all the ingredients. You can have your own recipes created on Normex. You can have all your ingredients created on Normex. So all that you do on paper right now can essentially be transposed on Normex, and that is where the real fun starts, right? Once you get used to having everything digitized and at one place, that is where you think, okay, I was maybe spending 3 hours every day just doing my supplier management, or I had two people dedicated solely to take care of my supplier management, depending of course on the company size, right? You'll be amazed to see how fast Normex, and how not just fast, but how seamlessly it can help you manage your suppliers. And in hindsight, right, when you do all of that, you not just save time, you also save a lot of money, right? And in fact, a lot of clients in the past have come back to us stating, okay, we had Normex and we were able to have about let's say 70 or 80,000 worth of savings, right? Because that's what you say when you don't use paper. You do not have a lot of people doing tasks that can be done by just one person, right? So that's essentially what Normex is capable of. So that actually concludes, my take on, a Normex. And this was a quick demonstration. Of course, Normex is capable of doing tons of other things apart from supplier management. It can help you with your traceability. It can help you have your temperatures, your shipping, receiving, and whatnot, right? And of course, if you want to have more information about what Normex is capable of, you want to explore more functionalities, you can, of course, feel free to book a personalized demo with us. We'll be more than happy to run you through how Normex can help you with your organization. So that's pretty much from me as far as the demonstration was concerned. And we'll be now happy to take questions from you, if any, pertaining to the demonstration specifically or in general, right? So please feel free to drop in your questions, and me and Anu will be happy to answer that as well.
Great. Thank you, Ramesh. Just before you stop sharing your screen, if you could just keep it open, could you just walk us through a little bit about alternate suppliers? Only because I did touch base on that in terms of emergency suppliers. And
Yeah.
Matthew actually left me an example. So they are CPG and they process and make freeze-dried snacks and dry purees. So just to address or use your example, Matthew, in your case, say if you're using a food contact packaging material as a flow wrap or something, and you have your main supplier, ABC, and they are out of commission due to a crisis situation or something, I'm sure you already have another alternate supplier in place. But again, having them assigned here under an approved status, are we able to identify them as alternate, or do they just go under approved on the screen here, Ramesh?
Right. So we have broadly classified them into two categories, Anu, which is approved and not approved.
Okay.
So that is where you'll be able to see, okay, these are the suppliers that are in good standing, right?
Okay.
And getting behind suppliers to even get back to you with information, I know it's a real struggle, right? And that is where having few clicks, asking them for information and reviewing that becomes really, really easy, right? And most importantly, right, it gives you a quick, you have a lens where you are able to quickly see, okay, what amount of efforts do I need to have on my supplier management? Okay, let's say if I have 10 suppliers and 7 are in the approved category, okay, I still have just 3 suppliers which I need to maybe put more efforts on. And that is it, right? So that leads to a lot of confidence within quality managers and within business owners. Okay, this is something that is making a lot of sense for me, rather than you're just again juggling between those files and folders, sending manual emails, getting a track of those emails, so on and so forth. So all of that kind of gets under one umbrella.
Yeah, well, sounds good. Great. Thank you. That's all I just wanted to address with the example that was provided.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. If you want to stop sharing your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. Okay, there you go.
There, I just, is my screen visible? Yeah, right there.
It is, Anu. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just wanted to leave you all with our contact information. So you've got both Normex as well as Food Safety Solutions information there, but we're happy to take questions um, regarding the demo or anything. Feel free, use the chat icon or the Q&A, and we will make sure we address them.
Yeah. And again, if you have any questions beyond the scope of what we discussed, please feel free to drop in, and if time allows, we'll be able to touch upon that. So yeah, please feel free to type in comments, suggestions, recommendations. Yeah.
Here we have a question in the Q&A section. Where is a good place to obtain a HACCP plan? We are in the process of wanting federal approval. Good question, Matthew. Ramiz, do you want to answer that, or you want me to take a lead on that?
Yeah, maybe I know if you can throw some light, I guess you'll be able to have a very solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matthew, so as part of Food Safety Solutions, we do have some templates that we do provide. We call them SFCR templates, so Safe Food for Canadian Regulation templates. And you could check out our website right there, www.foodsafetysolutions.ca. We do have some SFCR templates, and we have successfully implemented those templates for clients to help and achieve the license, as well as we do modify those templates as required, specific to commodity types, to make sure that all the requirements are addressed. For example, I just recently did a dairy industry using the same template. I just had to modify to make sure I address all the additional requirements for the dairy to get the federal licensing, and it was a seamless effort. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And just adding my 2 cents here, Matthew. I mean, as far as creating a HACCP plan is concerned, Normex also comes loaded automatically by default with all your HACCP plans. And not just your HACCP plans, right? You think of any certifications, be it BRC, SQF, or or whatever it is, right? You have tons and tons of procedures that you have to keep, right? And this is one struggle that a lot of food manufacturers have, right? Whenever they plan to have any certification, right? Be it HACCP or whatever, right? So Normex also enables you to have all these procedures automatically installed so that you can easily follow, and the team can also easily follow, right? And again, the idea is to have as much less dependence on paperwork that you can have, right? The idea is to, in fact, have no paper at all. And these procedures essentially, traditionally, typically are all papers. So all of that is automatically loaded on Normex. You just have to follow that. You can edit that, of course, as per your company's size, requirements, whatsoever. But yes, having HACCP already installed on Normex makes your life really easy, right? And let's say typically if it takes about 8 months for you to have that HACCP journey, Normex has historically helped clients get to that goal maybe in just 4 months. I hope that answers.
Thank you, Ramiz. Q&A. what kind of man hours are the average for doing the template version in-house versus what is the average cost if we have to pay a third party to do the heavy lifting? I'm not sure if this question is a bit more towards the consulting part or the Normex. So maybe I'll lead you, Ramiz, maybe I'll allow you to take a lead on this.
Yeah,
Because we do have HACCP as part of Normex, and you can do just
right. Right.
that module for a client as well, right?
Correct, correct. Yeah, so this is what I was just talking about, Matthew. I mean, as far as I mean, there's no set man hours as to, again, it depends on how complex your organization and how many employees you have and how many what kind of products, of course, you manufacture, right? So I mean, as far as Normix is concerned, as I mentioned, right, it helps you to fast track your HACCP implementation. Typically, if again it takes about 8 or 9 months, we can help you reach that goal relatively quicker, right? And of course, when you save time, you save money, right? And then, as I mentioned in my previous, when I was giving the demonstration, we have had clients who've actually, saved about, let's say, one of the clients in based out of States. It's an ice cream company, and they saved about 80K, right? Just because they were able to have faster, implementations for HACCP, right? So that's my take on, maybe Anu can add to it. Yeah.
Uh, no, I think what you've addressed sounds right, but that's again the Normex side of it. I really can't talk for the man hours for that. But I do know about the templates that Food Safety Solutions does offer. Um, I don't know the exact calculation, Matthew, but if you don't mind leaving your email ID either on this chat, then I can get in touch with you
Yeah.
on the side, or you could feel free to send me an email at info@foodsafetysolutions.ca, and we can help you address that a bit more. Okay, I'm just looking at Q&A. Okay. Well, great questions, everybody. Do we have any more?
Still have about a minute or so. So if you still have any questions that are unanswered or on top of your head, please feel free to type those questions, and we'll be able to give you some insights.
I got your email, Matthew. Thank you very much. We will keep in touch.
So I don't think we have. Okay, we have a question from John. John says, does Normex have supplier audit templates that we can customize to specific suppliers? All right. So what we have here, John, is the supplier questionnaire that is absolutely customizable, right? So you can actually have, I mean, of course, you can have questions that are more specific to your organization or to your company, or there's a generic template that we have for all the suppliers, right? But yes, to your question specifically, depending upon specific suppliers, Normex is highly customizable and comes with the functionality to, have your company specific supplier audit templates or questionnaires. All right. So Matthew, you asked if Normex is a subscription model per month or one-time paid for software. That's a good question. So yes, we are a subscription based a software, and you have the option to have a monthly or an yearly subscription. To know more about how Normex works, I would strongly recommend you to book a demonstration. So I'll put in, I'll just, type in the link where you can book the demonstration. So yeah, so you can, just to have a more a well-rounded answer to this, depending upon how many employees you have in your organization, we can give you a personalized demo and answer all the questions that you have. But yes, it is a subscription-based model, both monthly and yearly. I hope that answers.
Okay, he replied good. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. All right, so yeah, if we have so we just have 2 more minutes before we call it the session. Do we have anything else? All right, I don't think we have any more questions, Anu. And yeah, of course, we just have 2 minutes. So in the interest of time, we would like to wrap this up, folks. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time to join us. And really, really appreciate the questions you've asked. And thank you so much for the active participation. If you have any further questions or would like to schedule a demo, a more personalized demo rather, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then you can book the demo on the link that I've provided. You have a wonderful rest of the day and a great Monday. And I hope to see you at our future webinars. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of the week. You take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.